darkness and silence through the night. What a thrill. I'm searching and I'll melt into you. What a fear in my heart, but you're so supreme. I give my life, not for honor, but for you. In my time, there'll be
That's right, folks. The war continues against the snakes. And you can call me Snake Eater. Today I continue with the Mystery Babylon series. In the coils of the coming conflict. I'll read verbatim from William Cooper's Mystery Babylon series transcribed. And without further ado, let us start. Because this is actually my third attempt of getting this video done. First, the socialist pigs at YouTube censor me. They interfere with my stream. Then I had a problem with the goddamn computer itself, but I'm ready now. Well, folks, I'm going to take you one step further in your education tonight. I am holding in my hands, dear listeners, an old, very old book published in 1883 in Philadelphia by Collins and McDill. The name of this book is In the Coils of the Coming Conflict. Again, the book was published in 1883 in Philadelphia by Collins and McDill. The title is In the Coils of the Coming Conflict by EBG. This is the second edition. And I want to make sure I'm reading the correct Now the internet's giving me problems. Bro, what a day. It's going to be a beautiful day, let me tell you. If this interferences continue, it's going to be one hell of a day. Am I even online now? I don't even know. Okay, In the Coils, or the Coming Conflict. Okay. All right. So the real title is In the Coils, or the Coming Conflict. Let me continue. The title is In the Coils, or The Coming Conflict by EBG. This is the second edition, which means there was an edition before this. And there is a quote here by Wendell Phillips who says, "This is the next great question the nation must take up and decide." And this book, ladies and gentlemen, is priceless, for it describes it was originally copyrighted in 1882. Actually, not copyrighted, but entered, according to an act of Congress in 1882 by A.P. McDill in the office of the Librarian of Congress at Washington, D.C. So if you can't find this anywhere else, it is in the Library of Congress. And I just looked on Amazon, they have it as well. Or you can search online and find yourself a PDF for free. This is about one man's battle with Freemasonry, and I'm going to read to you a letter which begins on page 237. This letter is written by Dr. Groves and sent to a Mr. Dover, Start of quote. Brandon, May 18th, 18, whatever it was, I'm assuming 1882 or 1883. My dear friend, I have delayed a reply to your note in order that I might be able to answer both your questions fully and with some degree of certainty. I am glad to be able to say that I am personally acquainted with your nephew and that I highly esteem him. I have consulted several influential men in our village, and we all agree in our opinion of Bates and his prospects in this precinct. So, I can answer both of your questions together and use the plural we and our instead of showing you mine opinion alone. We believe Bates to be the best candidate in the field as yet, and it is possible that he will have our hearty support. We are not altogether satisfied with any of our candidates, but we do not expect to find one that will suit us in every particular. We may consistently support a person and yet have some objection to him. So in regard to Bates, we have our serious objection to him. We have one serious objection to him. But whether that will be in our way of supporting him depends on circumstances. I suppose you want a plain statement of the whole matter, rather than any uncertain and flattering promise. And I will not be kept back by fear of offending you, or by a desire for office or popularity, from stating clearly our objection to Bates, and the circumstances in which he may probably expect our support. We do not object to his abilities, moral character, republicanism, 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 republicanism. I repeat that over and over because a lot of you think it's only liberal, liberal, liberal. It's both goddamn parties. They're playing you like a fiddle. Two sides of the same fucking coin. Wake the fuck up, you stupid idiots! We do not object to his abilities, moral character, republicanism, relatives, or general fitness for the place. We appreciate him for all these. Our only objection to him is that by certain and numerous oaths, which he considers binding, we do not, however, he has pledged his support to a monopoly which is more powerful and dangerous than those he professes to oppose, and has sworn his allegiance to a government which claims supremacy over all other authority, whether church or state. In a word, as we are informed, Mr. Bates is a Freemason. Now we know that everyone who enters the lodge swears to support the Constitution of the Grand Lodge of the state and to conform to the laws of any lodge of which he shall be a member, and also to obey all regular signs, summons, or tokens from any Mason or body of Masons. Now, whatever he may be told before taking this oath, after he does so, he is taught that the authority of the lodge is absolute. The covenant, the covenant, the covenant is irrevocable, and its obligations are supreme. Listen to the terms, listen to their words. Covenant. In General Ahiman Rizan, or the Freemason's Guide, we read, the candidate entering the lodge is on the point of binding himself voluntarily, absolutely, and without reservation forever. Webb's Monitor says the covenant is irrevocable. Even though a Mason may be suspended or expelled, though he may withdraw from the lodge, journey into countries where Masons cannot be found, or become a subject of despotic governments that persecute or communicant of bigoted churches that denounce Masonry, he cannot cast off or nullify his Masonic covenant. No law of the land can affect it. No anathema, and I know what this word is, no anathema of the church can weaken it. It is irrevocable. And anathema, if I'm correct, means curse. Again, this same Masonic author says, the first duty of the reader of this synopsis is to obey the edicts of this Grand Lodge, right or wrong. His very existence as a Mason hangs upon obedience to the power immediately set above him. Failure in this must infallibly bring down expulsion, which, as a Masonic death, ends all. The one unpardonable crime in a Mason is contumacy or disobedience. I think it's time for some water. The one most unforgivable crime, failure. Remember where that's from? Although it takes much space in my letter, let me give you more testimony with the names of the witnesses, who are all eminent members of the order and high in authority, and some of whose works are in nearly every lodge and necessarily have some effect on the members. That this surrender of free will to Masonic authority is absolute within the scope of the landmarks of the order, and perpetual, may be inferred from an examination of the emblem, the shoe or sandal, which is used to enforce this lesson of resignation. That's from the Morris Dictionary of Freemasonry. Disobedience is so subversive of the groundwork of Masonry, in which obedience is so strongly inculcated, that the Mason who disobeys subjects himself to severe penalties. A Grand Lodge is invested with power and authority over all the craft within its jurisdiction. It is the Supreme Court of Appeals in all Masonic cases, and to its decrees unlimited obedience must be paid by every lodge and every Mason situated within its control. The government of Grand Lodges is therefore completely despotic. While a Grand Lodge exists, its edicts must be respected and obeyed without examination by its subordinated lodges. That's from Mackey, Lexicon of Freemasonry, page 183. For ourselves, we deny as Masons that any civil government on earth has the right to divide or curtail Masonic jurisdiction. When once established, it can only be done by competent Masonic authority and in accordance with Masonic usage. From the Grand Lodge Report. A due summons from the Lodge or Grand Lodge is obligatory upon him, and should he refuse obedience, he will be disgracefully expelled from the society with public marks of ignominy that can never be erased. That's from the Morris Dictionary of Freemasonry, page number 29. Disobedience and want of respect to Masonic superiors is an offense for which the transgressor subjects himself to punishment, to punishment, to punishment. That's from Mackey Masonic Jurisprudence, page 511. Hence we find that the Mason's authority in the lodge is as despotic as the sun, S-U-N, in the firmament, which was placed there by the Creator, never to deviate from its accustomed course, till the declaration is promulgated that time shall be no more. That's from Oliver's Signs and Symbols of Freemasonry, page 142. Treason and rebellion also, because they are altogether political offenses, cannot be inquired into by a lodge, and although a Mason may be convicted of either of these acts in the courts of his country, he cannot be Masonically punished. And notwithstanding his treason or rebellion, his relation to the lodge, to use the language of the old charges, remains indefeasible. That's from Mackey's Masonic Jurisprudence, page 510. Now, I'm going to read that again, and I want you to pay close attention. Pay attention, motherfuckers! Because I caught it. Did you catch it? Did you catch it? Treason and rebellion also, because they are altogether political offenses, cannot be inquired into by a lodge, and although a Mason may be convicted of either of these acts in the courts of his country, he cannot be Masonically punished, and notwithstanding his treason or rebellion, his relation to the lodge, to use the language of the old charges, remains indefeasible. That's from Mackey's Masonic Jurisprudence, page 510. There is no duty more forcibly enjoined in Masonry than that of warning a brother or danger impending to his person or interests. To neglect this is a positive violation of obligation and destroys any person's claim to be entitled a Mason. That's from Morris Dictionary of Freemasonry, page number 325. The powers and privileges of the master of a lodge are by no means limited in extent. That's from Chase's Digest of Masonic Law, page 380. As a presiding officer, the master is possessed of extraordinary powers which belong to the presiding officer of no other association. That's from Mackey's Masonic Jurisprudence, page 344. The system of Masonic law has little of the Republican or Democratic spirit about it. Let me repeat that again, carajo, carajo, carajo! Wake the fuck up, motherfuckers! The system of Masonic law has little of the Republican or Democratic spirit about it. That's from Morris Webb's Freemasons Monitor, revised edition, page 195. Do you get it yet, motherfuckers, sheeple, cattle, zombies? Do you get it yet? You have no idea what kind of fucking trouble you're in. Especially you got people out there calling yourselves Christians. And you won't even know the definition of a Christian if it smacked you in the face. Once a Mason, always a Mason. Once a Mason, everywhere a Mason. However independent, whether as individuals or as lodges, whether grand or subordinate, and we are each and all truly free and uncontrolled by anything save our ancient laws and Constitution. And they're not talking about the Constitution, they're talking about their Constitution. Yet no Mason can be a foreigner to another Mason. We are all equal citizens of one common government, having equal rights, equal privilege, and equal duties, and in which government, thank God, the majority does not govern. For our order, in its very constitution, strikes at the root of that which is the very basis of popular government. It proclaims and practices not that the will of the masses is wise and good, and as such to be obeyed, not that the majority shall govern, but that the law, above mentioned ancient law, shall govern. Our tenet is not only that no single man, our tenet, there's another word, tenet, what was Nolan's film called before? Tenet. Our tenet is not only that no single man, but that no body of men, however wise or numerous, can change in any degree one single landmark of our ancient institution. They believe, let me pause here, they believe they're untouchable. The only law is the mystery religion. That's what they obey. That's what they follow. Do you understand? And then you wonder why they break the laws, the rules, why they pull you over whenever the fuck, why they arrest you whenever the fuck. Why you have to do prison time for stupid shit. They don't follow the rules you follow. They believe they're elite. They believe they're a master race. They believe they're the chosen people. Wake the fuck up. Read that goddamn Bible again. You're reading it wrong. They believe they are the ones created in God's image, and the rest of us were made of the earth. They believe they're destined to rule forever. Jesus fucking Christ. Our law is strictly organic. It cannot be changed without being destroyed. You may take a man to pieces, and you may take a watch to pieces, but you cannot alter his organs and put him together again as you do the timekeeper. Masonry is the living man, and all other forms of government mere convenient machines made by clever mechanics for regulating the affairs of state. Not only do we know no north, no south, no east, and no west, but we know no government save our own. To every government save that of Masonry, and to teach and all alike, we are foreigners, and this form of government is neither pontifical, autocratic, monarchical, republican, democratic, nor despotic. It is a government per se, and that government is Masonic. We have nothing to do with forms of government, forms of religion, or forms of social life. We are a nation of men only bound to each other by Masonic ties as citizens of the world, and that world, the world of Masonry, brethren, to each other all the world over. Let me read this again. We are a nation of men only bound to each other by Masonic ties as citizens of the world, and that world, the world of Masonry, brethren to each other all the world over, foreigners to all the world beside. If you are not one of them, you are nothing. That's a motto that they say. Do you get it yet? The above is a Masonic address in a nutshell. It is the compressed essence of Masonic life. It's taken from the Missouri Grand Lodge Report for 1867. What a remarkable array of Masonic testimony, and yet the half has not been told. I might go on almost indefinitely, showing its foul, treasonable, and anti-Republican nature. Anti-Republican nature. Anti-Republican nature. As legally portrayed under these extracts from standard Masonic publications, the above sentences are complete quotations and not garbled. They are concise and plain. The language is authoritative. Masonic superiors never argue with subordinates. They dictate. No wonder a most prominent member admits the following: there is no charge more frequently made against Freemasonry than that of its tendency to revolutionize and conspiracy, and to political organizations which may affect the peace of society or interfere with the rights of government. Taken from Mackey, Mystic Tie of Freemasonry, page 43. Remember, my friend Dover, that I am not speaking of your nephew's personal views or the supremacy of the lodge. Remember, my friend Dover, that I am not speaking of your nephew's personal views of the supremacy of the lodge, nor saying what he would do if he should find that some of the laws, summons, or orders of the lodge should conflict with his duty to the government, but merely showing you what the lodge, according to its standard authors, claims, and what every Mason has sworn to perform. If Mr. Bates should go to Congress and then find in some cases that he might violate either his official oath or Masonic obligation, I do not say which he would consider binding, but I do say, for I know, that the lodge by its writers, its lecturers, and its decrees declares that its obligations are supreme, its authority above all civil authority, and obedience to his superiors the first duty of every Mason. If eminent members know and tell the truth about their own order, if Grand Lodge reports can be believed, there can be no doubt on this point. Please read again carefully what these have said. Yes, dared to print, and you will see our objection to sending Bates to Congress, or electing him, or any Mason, to any office until he renounces his allegiance to the lodge. Do you think that we demand too much? Every other foreigner, before he is allowed even to vote, must renounce his allegiance to the government under which he was born, and to which perhaps he has never sworn or acknowledged obedience. We require of him, and properly, the following obligation. I do declare an oath that it is bona fide my intention to become a citizen of the United States, and to renounce and abjure forever all allegiance and fidelity to all and every foreign prince, potentate, state, and sovereign, and particularly blank, fill in whatever country he came from, of whom I am a subject. Is it then right for free citizens of this country to vote into any office a person who has sworn and still lives under and acknowledges allegiance to another? A monarchical and a despotic government? Has not the Grand Lodge of one state, in consistency with the general teaching of Masonry, declared that all its members are foreigners to our government? Let us then consider them as such, and our government also should consider them as such, and forbid them to hold office, sit on the jury, or even to vote until they take the oath prescribed for other foreigners. When I tell you that the most puissant sovereign Grand Commander of the United States, of whom every Mason in the country is a sworn subject, is an ex-Confederate general whose rebel hands are deeply dyed by the crimson blood of loyal citizens, and who at one battle of the late war led a brigade of Indians against the Boys in Blue, who by these cruel savages were murdered, scalped, and mutilated in a manner too barbarous for description, you will see more force in this argument. And why was not the arch traitor, the leader of the rebellion, hung when captured? He and the President of the United States and many congressmen and judges were Royal Ark Masons and had sworn each to the following. Furthermore, do I promise and swear that I will aid and assist a companion Royal Arch Mason when engaged in any difficulty, and espouse his cause so far as to extricate him from the same, if in my power, whether he be right or wrong. Is it not reasonable then to suppose that these men who had sworn to fulfill their duties as civil officers chose rather to obey Masonic obligations and extricate a rebel from his difficulty? This is the only explanation of the strange event which is worthy of any consideration, and it is made more certain when we remember that, according to Mackey's jurisprudence, treason and rebellion also, because they are altogether political offenses, cannot be inquired into by the Lodge. These facts concerning the oaths and teachings of the Lodge will explain many other strange things in the history of our country. They will often explain why some improper person is nominated and elected to some office, or the illegal contestant is given the seat, or a criminal is acquitted or pardoned, and perhaps promoted. Why was our present representative, who you say has not brains enough to be a pettifogging lawyer, and who is notoriously dishonest, sent to Congress? Why was he nominated by our party? In answer to this question, the WASP, whose editor is an anti-monopolist, but also inconsistently a Mason, says, because as the superintendent of our main railway told a prominent man before the convention which nominated him, the present incumbent was this company's most available candidate because he was high up in Masonry. Thus he admits that the Lodge is used for the purpose of securing improper nominations and electing to office unworthy men, and certainly implies that it is used to control them while in office. So you see our obligation to any Mason going to Congress, and our only objection to the nomination of Mr. Bates. So you see our objection to any Mason going to Congress, and our only objection to the nomination of Mr. Bates. The one condition on which we will give him our united and hearty support is that he goes before the clerk of the United States Court and takes the oath required of all foreigners, inserting the word Freemasonry in the blank. I give you freely and honestly a lengthy statement of this case, but if there is anything further you desire to know, I would be glad to answer your inquiries. I should be glad to receive a visit from you at any time. Yours, Warren Groves, N.R., Dover, Princeton. Ladies and gentlemen, and I'm talking as William Cooper. I'm reading William Cooper's words now. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you understand the import of what I have just read to you. And I hope that you understand that many of the leaders of the patriot community are Freemasons! Alex Jones! Alex Jones! Alex Jones! They are sworn to the order, to their one world government of which they only are citizens, and they have no allegiance to any other government, organization, oath, creed, or religion. I don't give a fuck how many times he says he's Christian. That's me talking. By their own writings, their own word, everything that I have quoted that was written in this letter was written or published prior to 1882. The farther back you go in history, the more truth you can read in their words. For they have learned that some of us are smarter than they think, and now they conveniently delete some of this from their modern writing. But even in their modern writing, you can find enough to incriminate and hang them all, and hang them all, and hang them all. The Confederate general discussed in this letter by Dr. Groves is none other than Albert Pike. Holy shit! Put that in your weed pipe and smoke that motherfucker. And you idiots and morons during your riots can knock down the statue of Albert Pike over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. They'll keep putting it back up. They'll keep putting it back up. They'll keep putting it back up. They'll keep putting it back up forever. Fuck a statue. And to show you that they are everywhere controlling everything and that you are being brainwashed, when is the last time that you really listened to Star Trek? When is the last time you really listened to the message of Star Trek? When is the last time that you understood the people portrayed in Star Trek owned no private property? And that everything in that series is Marxism, it's Marxism. Pure socialism, pure and simple. And what is the message of Star Trek? Go rent the movies and the series and watch them one by one, starting with the Star Trek movie and ending with the last one that was made. And you very quickly come to your senses, especially when you realize that Captain James T. Kirk, when he came upon the scene, relieved one Captain Albert Pike. The initials of James T. Kirk, backwards, are KTJ, the Knights of the Temple of Jerusalem. Lieutenant Colonel James Bobo Grits, Bo Grits, is a 32nd degree Freemason of the Scottish Rite. Get your heads out of your collective asses. Good night and God bless you all. Well, I'll be damned.
What a thrill.
You can call me Snake Eater,
Darkness and silence.
and I will continue eating the snakes tomorrow. Oh, you're gonna love this one. Oh, you're gonna love this. Oh boy, I'm gonna keep it a secret. If you wanna know what tomorrow's is, you just have to fucking tune in. Same time, same channel.
I give my life, not for honor, but for you. I
snakes yourselves or get eaten by them.
It's the way I'd like to you. I'm still in a dream, snake eater. Someday you go through the rain. Someday you'll feed on a tree frog. It's ordeal, that trial to survive.